Aye. Okay. Approval of minutes from 2/7/24 meeting.
Motion to approve.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to like fast and furious here. Go ahead.
Okay, just tell me and I'll slow
No,
down.
you're good. You're good.
Next item on the agenda is progress on the teacher task survey. So Ms. Hanks, do you have any?
So so we got sent out obviously to the staff, thank you. And last time I looked, which was I think last week, we had 28 responses and I would like for us to have more. So I was hoping that we could sort of spread the news to our departments and sort of just make sure, and then maybe next time we'll, however many we get by then, we'll look at the results.
Sure.
Does that seem?
Sure.
Yeah.
Survey? I would think so, yeah. It's just a matter of.
I think it's okay. I mean, I'll share it. There's nothing, I mean, Pierce sent it out originally. It's not
Right.
like it hasn't been approved. Could you maybe share the link with us so that then we can share it at the staff meeting? In case it's somewhere hidden down in our emails.
Right. Okay. I will do that.
Well,
And then-
here, if you just want to send it to one of myself, for Mr. Petner, Ms. Doug, because we're all in the history department, so sending it to three of us for one department's a little overkill.
Yeah, and department chairs maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to revisit that in our next meeting.
So are we tabling?
No, I
We're
think
just-
that we talked about it, but we don't have to
You
have
don't
a
have to
motion,
make a
right?
motion.
We're just-
Okay.
Just talk about it.
Okay, just so I know what to put down.
The next item is Student Resource Center, especially for printing. So we did try to meet with Dr. V after the last meeting, and she ended up canceling it because she came late and she had her daughter. So do you remember what we were asking her to do?
I think it was just to provide facilities for the students so that they can print their own materials as opposed to relying on us to have stuff printed for them in other classes. So,
And in the chats, she also agreed. She said she would be looking into it.
Someone put it in the chat.
So no, it was in the chat because I started that thread and she chimed in later on and said, "Oh, that's a great idea. We should look into it." And it's saved in chat so you can see it. So she's aware.
So I think when we meet with her, we'd have to say, what's the plan? Is there a date? Where would it be? And just sort of make a concrete rather than just, yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Throw it into the ether.
So do we need to make a motion for that, or?
It was already on it from last time. Wasn't
yeah,
Okay.
so,
So we'll follow up with her,
Okay.
yeah.
at least
Mhm.
in preparation for next year.
Okay. Any more comments on the student resource center? Okay.
Sorry, I keep sniffling, guys.
Teacher parking lot, Ms. Doyle, that's yours.
Yes, so since no one is monitoring our parking lots, I've noticed an increase of non-staff, non-Steinmetz people parking. In fact, every morning when I come in, that entire fence line is completely filled. And I know none of those are staff members. And then there's also issues with cars parked in non-spaces. And oftentimes that blocks the people who are parked in the lot. And so I'm wondering, I know in the past, Sam used to police and monitor. He was great. Right, so he did
You messed
because,
with the lot, you messed with some.
right, so it's more than an inconvenience, quite frankly, when people start parking in illegal spots, blocking the way. So I'm wondering if there's anything admin can do to ensure that somebody, because it's a free for all. Residents park all the time. So
For like students, you just kind of don't have expectations and structure and things just sort of overflow.
I'm wondering if there's something that can be done because in the past that we did have someone who did.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how.
So we make a motion that administration establish some sort of protocol for the parking lot that is shared with the community, at least via signs or the website, or work with the police here, say what kind of ticketing can occur.
I mean, some sort of enforcement. I
Yeah.
think everyone knows because there are signs posted. This is for Steinmetz.
Signage doesn't seem to bear the weight we think it does.
Yes, that's why I'm suggesting if there's an enforcement, not just a signage, because we have signage and we have yellow lines to indicate what is and what is not a parking space.
Right.
And so I would be asking for enforcement.
So
Okay.
you move that we require or ask. Oh, did you make that motion?
I did. I forget how I phrased it.
I'll second it.
And what is it about the people who park in non-spots have the biggest vehicles? It's never Fiat, and then like then you can kind
Yeah,
of shimmy
because they
around.
think like it's not going to get scratched or something.
It's like military grade.
Like I got my own spot here.
Just an observation of
Right.
the types of things that end up in
Yes,
vehicles.
Michael Royal, second.
Yes, I
My
second
car's
it.
a
So
series of
just to
zip
be
ties
clear,
way the hell
what's the
out.
motion you're
Just-
saying?
To enforce parking regulations?
Okay.
that was
Right,
funny.
and monitor and, right,
Right.
monitor
Funny
and
in my head.
enforce.
Enforce parking lots.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Not sure what we-
Um, So number 7, I'm not sure who brought this up, but it's revised meeting schedule at the end of marking periods.
I think that may have been mine.
I think it was that shirt you got on there.
Was the when we get emails about grades are due on such and such day and the importance of getting grades due on such and such time, and then we have meetings scheduled that entire week, and none are in consideration of teachers trying to get their grades in. And again, in the past, we've had just a grace period, especially the week of, because usually grades are due on Wednesday. And so at least the meetings on Wednesday, if not Tuesday, would all be dedicated for teachers grading and verifying and uploading their grades. That was just a suggestion, just because if grades are so important, then they rely on us for accuracy and timeliness. It would be nice to have that shown by canceling meetings.
So you move that.
What's your motion?
That admin should limit the number of meetings, particularly during the week when grades are due, during marking periods. I'm not suggesting progress reports, but certainly during marking periods where we are putting in grades for a report card. I think that's fair.
At the risk of seeming bold, I think we need exact asks, otherwise things just sort of like fade into the atmosphere. So I would say
Principal
zero
directed time should
meetings
be-
during weeks when grades are due.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
And then 8 is updates on teacher schedules and preps for next year. Is that we're just asking for updates from admin? Does someone have?
That was mine. Yes, just updates. I think we should know where we are before we leave, and I think we need to start prepping for next year.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing 5 classes, let me know now. Don't wait until I get back to know that I'm doing 5. I never want to see this 5 class thing ever again. This is crazy. I'm running all over the building. This is totally ridiculous. So if that's going to be the case, then I think we should know that now.
I think by union contract, they have until whatever date it is, like, can ask for it earlier.
Yeah, like May 1st.
Well, I
I
know they were saying how they have found out that these excessive preps are unnecessary.
Oh, they found it out, huh?
So I think that we should get some reassurance.
Yes.
Reassure me.
Yeah, I don't like laboring under the burden that I may be teaching 3 preps again next year. I don't like carrying that cloud over my head.
I totally agree. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying by union
Contract,
rule,
I know.
they have. But we can bring it up. We can ask if it's possible that it.
As a matter of courtesy, they can share with the faculty what their sort of thoughts are going into next year.
So we're making a motion to ask for an earlier, if possible,
Or at least
date
an
of
update on what their plan, they must have some notion of
Their
what their
plan.
strategy is
Okay.
for next year. I don't think anyone buys that 3 preps is necessary. That just became a new thing in the last year. The reasoning feels spurious, strange.
We never even got a consistent reason because they all made
Right, so
none of them made
I
sense.
think obviously we would prefer 2 preps as much as possible.
Yeah, 2
It's
preps
a
is
union
reasonable.
contract. Going into next year, we'd like to just check with them, keeps, what sort of
Let's
say-
pressure
Band
communication,
this song?
Yeah,
see
let's
what's
just
going on.
say.
Why are they playing this song?
So is there a motion or we're just asking for an update?
I guess we're asking. are we
Just asking.
Okay.
Yeah,
See what
yeah,
it looks like.
because we can't make it
Katy Perry. I don't ever want to hear her
Women's History
again.
Month, and so they're playing
women.
artists.
Hear me roar.
Women
We'll
hear
play
me
it. There are a
roar.
lot of other women artists.
Many.
Max,
Let's hear some
not
Janice
very
Joplin.
many.
can't
All right,
deal
I
with that
second this
song,
motion.
man.
There's no motion.
Wait, there was, there
No,
was
we're
a
just asking for an update.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, 9 is about unit and lesson plans for inclusion classes, for team talks.
Okay, here's the deal. That was mine too. Before it was because the department made the unit maps. We followed the unit maps and did modifications to it as we needed to for spirit classes, separate instruction classes. I was told at one point you needed to write a separate whole unit, whole lesson plan, whole everything.
Mm-mm.
And then this year I was told, oh, you didn't use the unit from the department?
Was it the same
which
person that
is
gave
it?
you those conflicting instructions?
So which is it? So I just need to know.
Okay, so we want clarification on whether
Hilarious.
unit plans for inclusion classes are the same as for the regular ed classes. Did you get that?
Yeah, and so just my understanding, so then the understanding is, okay, so you were told to write your own unit map, but then if you wrote your own unit map, then you were penalized because you wrote your own unit map and didn't follow the
You weren't
departments.
penalized. It was one year you were told one thing, the next year when you did
The
that,
opposite.
Oh, okay.
then you're told the opposite. So
Okay.
which do I do?
So we want clarification on unit plan expectations for inclusion
Separate
classes.
classes, yes.
Okay.
And consistency,
Consistent, right.
because they can clarify every year what they did for you, but it's different.
Mhm.
So we want clarification and consistency.
Mhm.
Okay, are we good for that one? Next is.
This is an ask, right?
This is an ask.
Double.
10 is a published procedure for detention and tardy policy.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
it that we are looking for what the actual
Right.
policy
As,
is?
as I told Ms. Kern, I'm not going to implement a tardy policy until I see it in writing, because it's, if I tell a kid something and then the administration doesn't follow up, then I look like a fool. So, if I can show the kid, look, it says right here, then I'll
10
implement it.
minutes after the bell
Right.
rings, you have to bring me a pass.
Right, but I need to see that in official writing from the administration. Otherwise, I'm not implementing. Because otherwise, somebody will walk the kid back up and be like, you have to let him in.
Sorry.
So we're making a motion.
To have a,
Written
Written
policy on
Imagine that.
tardies to class.
Imagine that.
So I guess I should bring this up here then. So I was asking, because I wanted to share the slides from that presentation that we had on the Google Classroom, because if this is coming from the attendance team, the one PD that we had on that, what was it, Wednesday or whatever. So this way I could take the screenshots from that presentation, put it onto my Google Classroom and be like, hey, this is the policy that's
Right.
going on for these classes. I've asked 2 times and both times I got silence. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. So, it's something that's definitely needed, which goes to your point that it's like you want something in writing to be like, here, this is not coming from me. This is coming from, this is coming from admin.
And then the administration has to back it up because they can say, look, this is your policy.
Yep.
So we're asking for something in writing
Mm-hmm.
on detention and tardy policy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're making a motion for them to share a written detention tardy policy. Anyone want to second it?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Did you want to add that there's also the enforcement part too? It's not enough just to share, but that it's also going to be backed up that by administration.
Yeah, let's add that.
Okay. So the motion is to have a written tardy policy and then clarification about how it's being enforced. And is it being enforced?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is interacting with admin during off hours. I don't know. I
All
thought
these emails that come at 10
On Saturdays.
on
and whatnot.
Saturdays, on Sundays, 11 p.m. And then I ask, am I supposed to respond to this? I don't look at emails like that, but when I do just glance through, it's infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hit my notifications on, like I used to do on my watch, on my phone, who does that? Who does that? If I'm off the clock, don't contact me. That's
So-
my time.
what's our ask there?
Our ask is it necessary that emails are sent at those hours? If you send it on the weekend, send it at noon. Don't send it at midnight. So I guess I'm asking for an inappropriate time, interfering with your life off the clock.
I would say that I don't get any kind of notifications. So it doesn't disturb me, I guess. And I would hate to sort of control how people organize their work time. Right? Some people work after hours.
That's it.
And you want to
Well,
send out an
maybe-
email when you are at
Well,
it.
you are, but I guess I
Well,
guess
I think it's an indication of how she overworks her assistant principals. And then the consequence for us is if they're expected to be overworked, we're expected to be overworked. So it has a negative impact on work culture in the general building. It sets a tone that we're supposed to be worrying about this place on Saturdays. We shouldn't be doing that.
To be honest with you, I mean, I don't want to answer emails either, but I have to send out a notification for my department meeting tomorrow, and I'm not going to have time during the day today. And so at 6 o'clock tonight, when I finally get to
6
sit down,
6 o'clock.
right, I'm going to send out that
So,
invite. So
so maybe our request should be nothing after 9 p.m. and nothing on weekends or something like that. Does that seem reasonable?
Because if it's going off these notifications and you get up, you jump, your phone is notifying you, and you say,
okay, so we're asking that emails not be sent after what time?
After 9 p.m. Does that sound good? On weekdays and not at all on weekends.
I don't know. I'm more agreeing with Ms. Hank on this
Well,
one.
there may be dissension on this vote.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Because it's one thing, if I agree if the expectation is that they expect a response.
Yes.
Right.
okay.
But if they're
okay.
just sending out emails, I don't care what time. And like, as you said, there are people who work at all hours. And if something important comes up or you forgot something, I certainly wouldn't want to withhold someone's ability to communicate. Because we can't say with one breath saying we want communication and then say, no, but only during
That's a fair point.
So I
That's
think,
a fair point, Ms. Doyle. Should we
So-
just table this one then?
or if we were to say, that,
just the expectation of response.
right.
It has to be
Yeah.
reasonable.
Response,
So it
right.
has to be,
All right.
because especially on
that's
the
it.
weekends, I agree that if it's during the work week, 24-hour responses, and this is probably the same for businesses, 24 hours, but then over the weekend, it would be 48 hours.
Yeah,
The next
Yeah.
So,
business
okay,
day.
so then that's our
That's it.
request, that they don't have an expectation of
To
an immediate
respond.
response.
Right,
Okay.
during off
And
hours.
that the response will come during our work hours. Okay. Sounds great.
So was that a motion or is that just a request?
I think that was an ask.
That's
Okay.
just an ask.
I like request better than ask. But maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, some of you walked in a little bit later after we started the meeting. Did anyone have any public comments? No? Okay, when is our next meeting?
First Wednesday of April, which, yes, that exists. It's not over break.
So our next
The third.
meeting would be
April
April
Yeah,
3rd.
it won't be over.
Which might be that SAT day. Is that